Hey crafters, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts. A lot of you guys came on here early. That's so cool. So every Friday at 5 p.m. we do live, we call it Free Play Friday, but it's like always mixed up. There might be, like today we're going to do a card, like a fancy fold card, or a 3D project, or some techniques, or something like that. So it's always going to be something different. Right now we're in kind of a Valentine series, so this one is a Valentine's card. I'm using an Inky Antics rubber stamps clear set. And I forgot to shut my door, so you might hear my husband. Yeah, hello. Christy Tiggles, welcome. Tarita Monica, it's me, Dee. Kathy Godwin, hi. Debbie Evans. Lisa Jameson. I can't find anywhere to get this one. I wanted to link it, but just use any kind of Valentine set that you have. As soon as I show you how this works, you're going to want to just pick out, you're going to know like which one you have in your stash that's going to work well for this. So it's a card on the outside, and I just use a regular A2 size card like this, okay, to make mine. And then we do a couple of score marks, so it ends up being a little bit shorter. But the front of it, I kept the same size. So you could do whatever it is that you want to do. This is, you can tweak the sizes and all that, okay? Jamie's here. Hi, Jeannie Ellis, Sherry Covell, Debbie Evans. So here's what the card looks like. It says, whether near or far apart. And then when you flip it open, this pops up, so it looks like he's flying through the air. It says, you're always close to my heart. So they'll see it from my angle while I'm looking at it. It's, you know, it's standing straight up. But from your angle, it's going to seem kind of weird. So it probably looks something like that. Let's see if we can get it up. So super cute, right? I used the e-brush to do this, and the grass, the sky and the grass. And then I used ink and a water brush to do the rest of it. So I always like being able to see what it is that our goal is before we start. So this is our goal. I also cut down a red background. You can do whatever you want. So let's get started. The easiest part is the part of doing just the folding. Let me move a little bit out of the way. I'm going to need to grab, if you don't have a trimmer like I'm going to use, you can mark your distances, and you can use a ruler, a flat edge ruler, and a pencil. So think about doing that, but I think that this will be easier. If you have one of these laying around, this is the best tool ever. There it is. There's my arm. I'm going to put the arm out because these are two pieces of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So it's an A2 size card when you cut them, because once I fold it in half, it would be 4.25 by 5.5. However, we are not going to cut this one or fold it in half. We're going to do a couple of marks here. The first one is going to be in half, but we're not cutting it. We're going to go 5.5 because this is 11 inches. And we're going to put a little score line there. All right. And then we're going to go out to 5 3/4, which is just an extra 1/4 of an inch out. And we're going to mark that. And then we're going to flip it over because we want to make a mark on the other side of the half. So if I put it at 5.5, this is my middle mark. And I've got one to the right. This is hard to see, I think, from your view. There they are. I think what I'll do is I'll make a little pencil mark so you can see them. All right. So 5.5, that's halfway. I'll just put a pencil mark so you can see where it is. Right there. And then we went out another 1/4 of an inch, and we made another mark right there. And then we want another 1/4 of an inch on the opposite side. So I'm just going to flip it over again. Find my 5.5 to make sure I'm doing the right line. There's my 5.5 right there on that line. And go out to 5 3/4 so I get that other 1/4 inch, which should be right here. And we'll make that mark. And then I'm going to mark that with a pencil so you can see it. Tarita, good question. They're really hard to get now, but I'm going to show you what they are. I wish I could pull this out. I'm also going to show a different one too, but I want to... Dun, dun. Couldn't you just do 5 1/4 instead? Yeah, you want it on both sides. So here's our mark. I think I need 2 more marks. It's been a crazy week. You want it to look like a W. So what we're working on is this part right here that's going to actually physically hold your acetate in there. So the half mark is right here, and then the other 2 quarter marks are right there, and it's going to make a W. So let's go ahead and make 2 more. I get what you're saying, but if we do it all on one side, then the card's going to be wonky. We want to make sure that we have even ones on each side. So however that works for you, how your brain interprets that, you feel free to ignore what I said and do it your own way. Because I like to do measuring where I don't have to be like, okay, I need to measure these sides, and it's 5 7/8, and then I have to, I try to avoid that stuff because some people get really kind of crazy about the 7/8 and the 1/8 and the 16ths, and they just don't get it. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to move this over 1/4 inch on both sides and add 1 more so we get the W. I thought it was only 1, but it's 2. So you go ahead and decide how that works for you. There's our other mark. So I'll move that over 1/4 inch. Here's another tip. The 1/4 inch is the same as, or darn close, to right here in this mark. So here's your cut line right here. On the left or the right of it is about 1/4 inch, and that's what I'm looking at. This seems all wonky to me. I might have to make another one for you. So here's what we did. Let me show you up close. We made 1 down the center, and then we went out right 2 and left 2. Now, if you take the center and just keep going and marking them, you won't have 2 sides, this side and this side, that are the same, that meet up the way this card does, where you have this in the middle, and then when you close it, these 2 come together. Does that make sense? I mean, you definitely want to do, hey Brayden, you definitely want to do, equal sides, equal parts on both sides. So if you are an eyeballer, then you're going to want to do that. All right, let's see if we can get this to work out. Mountain Valley folds, all right? We want a crease on both sides. I'm going to crease mine, and I'm going to show you the W, okay? And it's going up. There's the M or the W, which either way you're looking at it. So the first one in the middle is going to fold in, like you're folding the card in half. And then your next line is going to go down. The whole thing's going to come down. And then your next line, the whole thing's going to come up. Same on the other side. So we've already gone up in half. The next line goes down, and the last line goes up. That's it. Okay? Because what we're going to end up doing is putting our piece of acetate in that little crevice. Right in the middle in that crevice. And that's where we're going to tape it in. My piece is way too big, but you get the gist. We're going to cut that down. When I made this card, I ended up with just a short piece of acetate, and that's fine. You can go all the way up to the top of the card if you want. I just felt like this made more sense. You can also do little like sticks, so you can have a couple of things going up in the air. You can go all the way up and put a spray of balloons going up. It's totally whatever you want it to be. But this, now that I have these creases in here, right, when I measure it, it's no longer going to be 5.5 because we used some of that up. It's going to be about 5. Yep. All right, it's going to be about 5. Hallelujah. Thank goodness it's Friday. And then I would recommend, if you did the quarters, do it about a quarter so that you can use your super duper sticky tape, whatever you have that's super sticky that's going to hold this. So I'm just going to cut some of my double-sided sticky tape, and I'm going to put it on both sides of this inside crease where I want to set my, I need a better piece, where I want to set my acetate. This turns out looking so cool, you guys. So put one, and if you're having a little bit of trouble like I am, eyeball up which one it is, flatten it out, and then put it on. That'll be a lot easier. Give it a good press. You don't want this stuff coming back off because that would be a mess. And it's that one, and then it's the one right next to it. Hey, Sherry Larson. And Rosie. Who else have I missed? All right, so we're putting tape on both sides. Make sure you secure that down. If you don't have a nail, use a bone folder. That works. Make sure it's flat. And now I'm going to go ahead and decide how big I want my acetate. This would be a good time for you to wipe off all the fuzzies on there. You can always wipe it off later after you put your thing on, though. So I can go as wide as 4 1/4, which I think I really do want to make it 4 1/4. Although I may make it just slightly smaller. If you make it slightly smaller, it's not going to stick out one edge or the other. So let's go ahead and do that. So instead of 4 1/4, I'm going to go about 4. I think that'd be plenty enough. Plenty good enough. I don't want it 5 inches because I don't want it to be that tall. That would fit, but I don't want it that tall. I'm going to cut this in half because then I can do 2 of them. So if I look at this, put my arm out so I can measure it. This is about 5.5, so 5.5 will be 2.5 with another quarter, so 2 3/4. That should give me 2 halvesies. Did I go too much? Hard to tell. Let's just go ahead and cut it. Did we go? Yeah, that's pretty dang close. All right. Keep in mind, I might do this backwards. I know I did it backwards when I made this card. Keep in mind that when you put these on there, think about your project ahead of time is what I'm saying. So if you know that you're going to want that bear on there, but then you realize later, oh, I want this sentiment stamped on there. You can always open your card out flat and stamp it. But if that worries you or you feel like you're going to make a mistake, oh, that must have been a little tiny spider and his guts are all over my card now. Oh, Lord. Well, what was I saying here? If you're uncomfortable with stamping it after the fact, stamp it first before you glue everything together. But just know that if you're using the acetate and you're using like a StazOn or whatever kind of ink, I totally, gin and tonic cocktail? What are you guys talking about? You guys are going to get me all off today. Go ahead and stamp it first. And remember, if you use StazOn, you can use alcohol and wipe it off and restamp it as much as you want. So if you're worried about that, don't worry about it. Okay, so it's going to go in here. So I'm going to peel off one side first. Actually, I'm not going to. I'm going to leave that for right now. We're going to go ahead and do that spray thing. I want to show you that too. So the acetate will get stuck in between those two. Right? And then we have to remember the back part because that's going to be open too. So we want a piece in here and in here. So open your card up from the back and do the 2 outside lanes. I think that'd be the best way to describe it. Kathleen Rumiere. I can see what everyone is writing, but my screen is black and I'm just wanting to buffer. That happens a lot, I've noticed. So one on that outside lane and one on the other outside lane. All right. And then you can stick all this tape together if you want to do that. I think I'll just leave it so I can show you how I use the machine to put my stuff in. Let me pull out the handheld one too, because I'm pretty sure you can still get that. So the eBrush is an airbrush machine that's going to give us the look that this card has on the inside. So this pretty sprayed blue color and this pretty sprayed green color is what the airbrush is going to do. This will also do it, but it's going to take your hand it's going to take a lot to get it on there. But I'll show you this one. I want to show you the other one first. Just makes more sense. Remember, if you're a patron, we have a pre-sale tonight for you guys. If you're not already a patron but you want to come, you're welcome to join us and get in on the next one, but we can't add you in between video and video, so you won't be able to get in on tonight's. Ah, Josie, you made it. Sweet. Okay, so this one takes any kind of a round marker, and then this little guy screws in and out to make sure that the marker gets held in place. That's how this one works. And then you tilt it down and you squeeze. Okay? The eBrush makes it oh so much easier. I have on my adapter that will hold, see the shape of it? That will hold my Spectrum Noirs, because that's what I use the most. So I'll go ahead and grab one to make the sky blue. All right, and I use the chisel tip. And I usually put the tip in like that. If you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of these, they're really cool. Okay, and always have a tester sheet next to it. Okay, that's going to spray pretty well. And a protection sheet, which I know I have here because I used it before. The protection sheet will say, I can lay it like right here and it won't go past there, hopefully. I get a little bit on my fingers, but I'm not too worried about that kind of stuff. So the closer you get to the paper, the darker of a spray you're going to get. The further away you go, the lighter of a spray you're going to get. See, so my fingernails are a little bit blue, but that'll wash off later. All right. We're going to do the green one, and I'm going to show you the difference between using that one, which went relatively quick, right, to how long it would take if we used one of these. This is really hard on you, especially if you have arthritis, so don't get one if you do. I'm going to use the brush tip of these markers, and I have these linked below. I think that Penny will also. link it so you can find these. These are super great markers. These are the ones that I constantly use all the time. They're water-based markers. They're not alcohol. Nothing special. I don't know how much I paid, but I think I have like, I don't know what, 1040 maybe, 3640 markers. You can get 100 of them for 30 bucks. So I included that link. If you want to get these, I absolutely love them. I use them all the time. This one, like, you almost have to push the tip like right next to it. Spectrum Noir markers do not fit in this squeezable one. Somebody just asked that. And then you just squeeze. And do you see? Oh. I mean, it's coming out, but it's in little spurts. And it's going to take a while. And it's going to take a lot of muscle in your hand and your wrist. My hand is already tired. Lots of people chatting tonight. The e-brush works for all sorts of markers. You can get the little adapters that go on for practically everything. This one only holds round ones. So like this kind of marker, I think it'll hold Bic markers, that kind of thing. But so you're really limited when you use this. And like I said, but you can still get these all over the place. You can't get the e-machine very many places. And when you do find them, they're like super expensive. And it's going to take me forever to get a darker coat like that. Like, this is just killing me. Let's try, yeah. Doesn't it make you nuts? So, like, my hand already hurts from using this. But if it works for you, that is super awesome, because this one is still available. I'm going to go ahead and put in a lighter green. You don't want to screw this in so hard that your tip gets smashed against the blower. But you do want it on there so it's not going to like slip off. So we're just going to add some other green here. Because grass is not always just one color. Ugh, my hand hurts. Your squeezy guy holds different shapes? That's interesting. I'd love to see that. Mine doesn't do that. Maybe you can get another adapter like this thing that's sticking on here. Can you get new other adapters for it? I've never tried. I've never looked because I like my e-brush so much better that I don't use this one as much, if ever. That'll work. And you notice that I've got like drawings in my grass here of little grass flecks. That's what I used these markers for as well. I'm going to have to, I'll do that. And then I'll do the little, this little shadow of him hanging in the air and stuff. And then we'll try to put some of this together. So you decide, you know, where do you want your grass, and do you want it just big clumps or little clumps, or do you want it really short grass or long grass? Just vary it up, vary up the sizes, and vary the colors, and it makes it look really cool. Adding the other colors will give you a variance. It'll make it look darker, deeper. And you can use this on any kind of card. You don't have to have the spray background, obviously. You can do whatever you want. So in this set, there's like this little, what would you call that? Like a shadow. Yeah, and the e-brush can have a much smoother look even than what I did if you take a lot of time. Learn how to use it appropriately and take, you know, just go slow. I'm going to go ahead and just use VersaFine and make this a black shadow. It's going to be, I'm going to wipe this off. just the edge there, because if I smash it down, I don't want it to get everything else all black. Okay, so that's going to go somewhere around here. It's not that important exactly where it is, because he'll be up in the air. So as I get this put together, somebody asked, Ann Littler asked how this works. I'm going to show you. So here's the inside of the card. This is where our acetate is going. And we cut that down already, so we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to take out our top piece of tape liner, and we're going to line that up in there. It's easier to do it this way than the way if you don't get it lined up the way you want it to, you can remove it. Make sure that sticks down, and then take off the second liner. Smash that together. All right, and then on the outside, we're going to smash that part together. So we're going to take that one off and flip it over. Oh, I went the wrong way. Gosh darn it. Nope, we're good. We're good. I don't know what I'm thinking. My brain's in two places at once. And then flip it over and do the back side. So this side, minus the acetate, because that's going to stick out, that's going to meet the other side of the card. So on two sides we should have our card bases, and on the top part we should have the acetate, and then when we open it up, it should sit like that. Yay, we got it. All right. Almost feel like I need to do this one again. But we're at 5:26 and we've got a pre-sale tonight, so we're not going to go long today. We do need to, now this is going to fold shut this way. You know, it's all going to collapse on itself. And we need to make our outer card. Now remember, this is not 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's only 5 because we made our scores. So if you want yours to be a regular A2 size card, just make sure that you extend it to the 5 1/2 like that, and then put it on this side. So I think, will I do red? I think I do have red next to me, so we'll go ahead and do red again. We'll do, I had a little white border, so I cut mine smaller even yet, but I could do 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and put that on there. So I think that's what I'll do first off, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to do the 5 1/2 first, so I don't run out of length. And then 4 1/4. All right, so this will be my base. It'll extend above the top, which is just fine because we know that this is a regular card base, so it will fit in a regular envelope. See how it's just a little bit longer? Now, if you want to make one that's just as long as a regular card and still use the same idea of making that W in the middle, you can use a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock so that your cardstock is longer, and then fix your math. I'm not going to show that part today because I think this is just as easy. So you go ahead and just add some tape to this. And I'm going to tape the front of my card instead of the red paper because it's longer and I don't want to put tape where I don't need it. Try to hit as close to the edge as you can because you want your card to stay on there. Alrighty, put this down there, go up one side, try to get as straight as we can. Alright, so then that will still open up. And I'm going to put another white right on the top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this card base that I already have cut out. cut it at 5. I'm going to make a little quarter white border around it. So instead of 5.5, I'm going to go 5 1/4. And instead of 4 1/4, I'm just going to go 4. And then that way we should have a white border around, or I should say a red border, I'm sorry, around my white. Just like this. All right, and we're going to tape that one down. And then you can decorate this any way you want. Mine has been decorated, like I said, with the Inky Antics, but I'm sure you've got something in your stash that made you go, oh, this would be perfect for that card. So now when we flip it open, bam, there's our little hangy guy. And you can play around with the folds, make sure that they're folded the way you like them, and it'll sit up like that. I added a couple of punched clouds, and then I just put a little bit of like blue underneath. Some of the blue will come off just with a paper, with a baby wipe. I'm going to show you. So I did that one already. So if you're worried that this will never come off, that's pretty clean. Not bad, and you know, you wash your hands a couple of times, it disappears, you forget all about it. And then I stamped one on the inside with like an innie and outie quote. So on the outside, whether near or far apart, and then the inside, you're always close to my heart. I have another little sticky guy on the back of that one. I'm going to try to pry it off. Another idea, if you've got sticky where you don't want it, just go ahead and use your powder, the little powder guy, which I have right here is a DIY one. You can find this on my channel. It's super easy to make. You can just rub that on there. This will stop it from sticking. I did that, but I had a pretty hefty duty glue dot on there, so it didn't work for as long as I wanted it to. So there we go. Now it's gone, and when I close my card, it won't stick anymore. So that's what you can do with this one. You can put anything you want on that guy. And they look relatively the same. I'm missing out on a lot of conversation here, guys. I hope you're having a great time, though. I'm going to go ahead and put my stamp back. If I get into stamping Benton, Mr. Benton here, we're going to run out of time. So I'm not going to stamp him out. I think we're just going to quit a little bit early today so I have time to get really organized for my next sale. I have most of it organized, but you know, there's always a chance that I can go to the bathroom and get a drink and do all that before I start another video. So if you're looking for, if you are a Patreon and you're looking for the next sale, which is tonight, 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, join us in our private group. Don't look here because we won't be here. And if you're looking for the regular public sale, that's tomorrow, Saturday the 12th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And anybody is welcome to come to that. Highly encourage you guys to bring a friend. Tell a friend about it. We will have a lot of new product and some used product. It's always, I always try my best to get some quality things in. So if I say it's used, it should not be abused. That makes sense. There's all sorts of things you can add to these cards to make them look really cool and wild. Do you use cornstarch in your anti-magnetic pillow? I do not, but you can use whatever you like. And then for those who follow and like to know everything that I used, here are some colors that I used for coloring in the bear. Okay. All I did was stamp my bear, use my water brush, put the water brush straight to the pad, and then color it in. And you can do that with any of your inks at all that you own. I probably wouldn't use like a StazOn or something like that. I would use Distress inks, just oxides, Stampin' Up pads, you know, like dye ink based pads, that kind of thing would work just fine. And that's about it. You definitely want a strong double-sided adhesive because it will start coming apart if you don't. This one looks like it's holding up pretty well. Excuse me. So there we go. Ta-da! And then I fussy cutted him, obviously, so he would look like he was in the air. Okay, so this does not take very many tools. These couple of tools that you see here, this is a definite. Some of this other stuff is optional. You just need regular paper, some double-sided sticky tape, and a way to make your score lines and some acetate. And then you pick your stamps and you just go wild and decorate it. So if you do this, yeah, give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this card or you love this series or you just love the channel and the community. And if ever you're looking for us and you can't seem to figure out where is Quality Crafts this or where's Quality Crafts that, go to qualitycrafts.com. qualitycrafts.com. There will be links and tabs for everything in our community. And our community is on Facebook. We're in Patreon. Patreon has a patron-only private group where we have challenges, envelope challenges monthly. We have other things going on. We get free digis and so on. There's a bunch of other stuff. So, qualitycrafts.com. There'll be a link to Patreon, a link to the blog, a link to, also the Amazon link. So if you're ever looking for a link, like, I'm pretty sure these markers are linked in there, just not the large pack that I linked here, because I thought, you know, if you're going to get these, I don't know that there was a 100 pack before, there may have been. I would get the 100 pack if I did it again. It's only 30 bucks. So anytime you choose to use one of my links from Amazon and buy anything, doesn't matter if you're buying a bone for the dog or catnip for the cat or underwear for your beloved, it doesn't matter what you buy. If you go in through any of our links through our community, then our community gets a small commission kickback, and that's what helps us keep going. Not just that, but that is a really big help. And so if you're a big Amazon user, then go ahead and use our links. That would be really awesome. And remember also, every Wednesday we do a 1 in 10 by Jen where I make a card in just 10 minutes using scraps from you, and then I send it back to the person. And every Friday we do this. And then every other Friday we have a patron-only sale and a public sale on a Saturday. All right, one last thing, in our group, it is commitment-free and drama-free. So if you're looking for a place to just hang out and you don't want to deal with any drama and you don't want to have to commit to, oh, now I have to do 3 swaps or they're going to kick me out. We do not have that in our community. So I hope to see all you guys there, and I can't wait to see you guys next video.